Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to HIMediaTV. I am your host, Evan from HIMediaTV. This was a video that was supposed to go out first week of January, but it didn't, so it's coming out now. So, at the beginning of last year, I made the executive decision to say, hey, I wanted to do my own Game Awards, especially after the controversy of last year's Game Awards and especially the most recent Game Awards too. Now, this was something that this was a mechanic in which my supporters, the people who have access to the supporter section of the Discord, were in fact able to react to and to put forward suggestions and submissions for different categories. Nobody really did. And then when it would open up for voting in December, nobody really voted. So, and I said this publicly to the community, if y'all don't vote, I'm picking for each category. And that's exactly what happened. Let's get into it. Our first category is game with the most toxic fans. And for me, that was going to be Dark and Darker without a doubt. This is not necessarily because the people that play Dark and Darker are necessarily toxic, but it's more of a petty reason on my end. I made a video critiquing some of my issues with Dark and Darker and the extraction genre as a wider concept, and the people in it were not pleased. And I doubled down and tripled down, and this is me quadrupling down. Dark and Darker fans have the most toxic. Dark and Darker has the most toxic fans. Our next category is best game actually worth the AAA price. And the game that earns it for me has to be Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2, despite the issues with the Sony logins and the equivalent issues in that regard, if nothing else, were a fantastic example of, fun, simple, good joy, and at a $40 price point was better than most AAA offerings that are costing as much as $70, $80, $90, even $100 for standard editions. Following up is the next category, the game that was the hottest mess. I also thought maybe it'd be good for me to actually have it above here. Skull and Bones. Without a fucking doubt, Skull and Bones is the principally worst game of this year, and we'll see more of it. It makes an appearances in other awards here. The first quadruple A game, and as the first quadruple A game, it was hot shit, and I don't mean that in the slang good way. Next up, most innovative remake. This is, remakes are a dime a dozen nowadays in the gaming industry, and unfortunately, it's something that we have to deal with. But when they do things that are relatively interesting or breathe new life into otherwise ancient games, I'm all for it. And the ones that did that were, without a doubt, the Chapter 2 of Final Fantasy VII. Big, chunky pieces of content that, well, at least feeling a little disconnected from the Part 1 that came out a few years ago, it is a huge bulk of the game that in the middle part of the game, which a lot of people genuinely loved. So it very much is most deserving of most innovative remake, in my opinion. Game most likely to break controllers. So I'm going to have, this is obviously going to go to a Soulsborne title, and it's not the one you think. This goes ostensibly to Another Crab's Treasure. A beautifully quaint, wonderful Soulsborne type of game that is, if nothing else, very fun, very funny, and very hard. It is a solid Soulsborne, Souls-like type entry that not only makes, is a wonderful entry to the game, it's also, I think, a great example of a game to endear people who otherwise struggle with Soulsborne games. It's difficult, but it has plenty of accessibility options that I say use as a great recommendation for people who would otherwise not really be into these types of games. And it's a great allegory for pollution and is a wonderfully fun game. Definitely worth your shot, even though, again, it's most likely to break your controller. Best soundtrack to listen to with headphones. I mean, obviously, that's going to end up having to go to Hi-Fi Rush. I don't need to explain. It is a fantastically wonderful game with a great soundtrack. Entries for the best muscle memory heavy game. Now, these are your things like your rhythm games, these are your Soulsborne things, and if I'm going to be honest, I personally would give this to another Crab's Treasure. Yes, Shadow of the Erd Tree is a contender here, but I will say that, you know, you're while we're going to get into Shadow of the Erd Tree and later in this video, another Crab's Treasure does, sort of you have to change some of your habits when it comes to playing another's Crab's Treasure. Instead of anticipating, parrying this isn't blocking on command, it is getting rid of your block on command. It is a very much a much different feeling experience. And, the muscle memory changes that have to do are refreshing and interesting. Best game with abusive microtransactions. That's going to Destiny 2, The Final Shape. This is very much also, I think, for many people, their Avengers Endgame DLC. Like, this is where they're just like, all right, Destiny 2 ended here for me. And I ain't mad at that. Also, I'm not, I could have put Genshin Impact in here or something, but the Final Shape is like the swan song for Destiny and Destiny 2, so we might as well just put it out with a bang. For the category Game World most likely to get lost in, that ostensibly is going to have to go to POW World. I am still playing POW World, and they are still cranking out update after update after update as it's gone. Despite, Nintendo trying to retroactively gain a patent for the concept of catching creatures in balls. Fingers crossed that like Power World continues to be something great for the future. I certainly like my knockoff Pokemon Arc Survival Evolved. Best art design not based in realism or art direction. These are your things like trying to utilizing the assets that you have, even if they are not the most high graphical fidelity, and doing it in such a way that makes a visually distinct, visually impressive game that is gorgeous without having to necessarily rely on things like high fidelity graphics. This is again going to another Crab's Treasure. I'm sorry, it's got such a cute art style. Can you really tell me that it isn't endearing? Worst game at AAA price. Y'all already know who it's going to be. It's Skull and Boner Farts. Next up, we have best game under $10. This is your type of game that you would buy and play with people, and something you would gift to your friends and you play through on a weekend and have a great time, or something that even is a great time to have outside of that. And the game, even though it came in at the tail end, that deserves this nomination is, without a doubt, Lethal Company. Remember, the time period for this started in December of 2023, so Lethal Company takes it, as far as I'm concerned. Oh Dear is another good one, but I think Lethal Company is one that takes the cake. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the HIMediaTV Game of the Year is, and y'all can't really be surprised by this, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree. Yes, it is a DLC. No, I don't give a fuck. Like, this isn't an industry, standard Oscars nomination bullshit. This is none of you motherfuckers participated in this shit. I talked about it multiple times and you had a whole year. If I'm choosing Shadow of the Erd Tree. Fuck you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the HIMediaTV Game Awards for 2024. time of release, which is I will be releasing this shit tomorrow, Tuesday, the 21st of January. Uh, Voting, all of these categories have been scrubbed. All of these categories are up for vote. I am now uh adding I am, instead of allowing just the members to instead of like I'm gonna make it so everybody can view it, but just the members can make suggestions and everybody can vote off rip. Okay? So um get your asses going with it because this is what happens when Evan gets to pick. So yeah. Toodaloo, motherfucker.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to talk to me outside of this video, outside of live streams, or just join the community and be a part of it, you can do so at himedia.gg/discord. Discord links there. We'd love to have you. And given the financial situation of the economy right now, I know this is a tall ask, but if you have the scratch to spare, please consider donating and becoming a supporter at himedia.gg/tip. All of our perks are serviced through our Discord channel, including early access videos, exclusive videos, and more. Your generosity is a blessing, and $1 a month is a boon to my mental health. Thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate you, and have a great day.